Note for the record that all council members are present.
All right. So, do we have a motion to move forward with the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
I'm not on.
Okay, so we have a special presentation.
Yes, we have staff introductions. We've had 3 promotions in the Public Works Department, and we have a special assignment in the Police Department that I'd like to let you know about. First, Keegan Black. You can stand, so that way everybody in home can see who you are. Keegan started with the city early by chalking baseball fields and scorekeeping games, then was hired as a junior counselor in the Recreation Department for a couple of years. After a brief hiatus from working for the city, Keegan eventually came back in the Public Works Department as a Public Works Maintenance Worker 2. Then he was promoted to a Public Works Team Leader before taking on the new position of Regional Compliance Program Manager, or as we like to call him, a Maintenance Program Manager. But it's you approved that position last year because we have all those new regulations that we have to keep track of, and Keegan's our guy who does that. So we wanted to let you know who we promoted, and it's always good that we're able to promote from within for positions.
Absolutely.
So
Congratulations, Keegan. Keegan, how long have you lived in Brisbane? All your life, right? You're not currently living in Brisbane, but all right. All right, thank you.
our next one is Dustin Cohn. Dustin started as a part-time Parks Facility Maintenance Worker 1, and then was hired as a full-time Public Works Maintenance Worker 2. He was recently promoted to Public Works Team Leader overseeing the Utilities Division in Public Works. So again, we're very happy to have somebody who we're able to promote up through the ranks and who is doing an extremely good job in the utilities. So he's the guy who's in charge of the stuff underground.
Yeah, thank you, Dustin. And you're someone who was born here as well, right? No, but you do live here.
35 years. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah, no, it's great seeing you and your family enjoying Brisbane.
All right, I have to say it. I grew up with both of their dads. Both Keegan and Dustin, long before you were born.
So if you want to know any stories about your dad, he's the guy to talk to.
Yeah, no, sure. That'll be after the meeting, though.
Our last Public Works promotion is Kessel Crockett. Kessel started with the city as a Public Works Maintenance Worker 1, and he was recently promoted to the Public Works Lead Maintenance Worker. So we're very happy once again to be able to promote from within, because we always try and hire the best qualified staff possible. And this shows that we do.
Yeah, no, you've done great work out there, Kessel. All right.
And then we have our new assignment, Lester Vega. We were thinking of not having him here because he got promoted to a detective position. Officer Vega has worked with the city of Brisbane for over 9 years and was recently assigned to the detective detail. As detective, Officer Vega is responsible for gathering evidence and facts to prepare criminal cases for prosecution by securing crime scenes, interviewing suspects, examining records, and apprehending criminals. The officers take the initial cases and hand them off to the detective, who conducts all the follow-up so officers can get back on the street and be available for other calls for service. So it really helps us be more efficient within the department when we have one person who's really in charge of the investigations. So we're very happy that we were able to get that position refilled.
That's great. Thank you, Lester. And Kessel, you live in town, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and you have with your family.
Yeah, 2 boys.
Nice. Well, it's great seeing these public works guys being so tied to the community. And Lester or not, you don't live in Brisbane though, right?
I didn't grow up with their dads.
No, you do. Yeah, but thank you for keeping our community safe, though. All right.
Those are our promotions.
Oh, excellent. And thank you for sharing that with us and the folks that are watching on TV. Okay, oral communications. Unless any of you guys would like to say something that's not on tonight's agenda, you can, or?
Oh, no, we appreciate the remarks and just the acknowledgement. Thank you very much.
All right, fellas. All right, take care.
Hi. I'm not sure that the people in the audience could actually see our people because they're in the audience, and I don't think the camera shows them. So I think that if they all came up, we could,
You know, that's a good point
we
there.
could actually introduce them and
You know,
perhaps.
I don't think our newest officer was ever introduced to the council.
I think we didn't introduce our officers because we have other new officers. What we could do, yeah, I thought you were, but I don't know if others.
He was.
We know if the new employees are on camera currently, from where they're standing?
Well, if you got
Are they
closer
able
to the
to be?
I'm looking
podium,
at that camera, and that,
yeah, and
Okay.
shared that podium.
Okay. And then,
so just for
maybe if they
people at
just-
home, on the camera right, I think is what it's going to be is Kessel, and then Dustin, and then Keegan, and then Detective Vega.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Terry.
I just think that members of the public, when they do come, don't want to sit certain places because they don't want to be on camera. So I'm not sure if it has the ability to be on camera.
Yes. All right. Next up is the consent calendar. So, are there any council members that?
Motion to approve consent calendar.
All right, no one wants to pull anything. All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Next up is public hearing. Item A, consider introduction of ordinance number 606, waiving first reading, amending Brisbane Municipal Code Title 17, zoning, to amend sections of Chapter 17.02, definitions, Chapter 17.32, general use regulations, and Chapter 17.32, appeals. Staff report, please.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. There are three components to this code amendment. The first is to implement a program from the housing element, and that requires a city to amend its definition of single-family dwelling to include employee housing for 6 or fewer employees. Again, that is language that is out of the state law, and we're obligated to bring our own regulations in compliance with state law. So that's the purpose of that particular change to Chapter 17.02. There were a number of changes to the general use regulations, which are outlined in the staff report to the Planning Commission. Those primarily relate to references and cross-references within the code that are out of date or inapplicable, cross-references to other sections that have either been eliminated or changed. So we wanted to bring the ordinance and make it internally consistent and delete any references that are out of date. And then lastly, the amendments regarding the appeal process. The City Council Policy Committee, composed of Mayor Lentz and former Councilmember Miller, had reviewed this, I believe, last year. The amendments primarily relate to the procedures for when the council chooses to set a planning commission item for hearing, changing that wording from an appeal to a referral. There were some concerns that the term appeal provided some concern that the council members who may have set the item for hearing had prejudged the outcome. And again, that wasn't the intent of the ordinance, so some of this language is just to clarify the intent. A city attorney can certainly speak to the provisions in more detail, or the council member present. With that, staff's recommending the introduction of draft ordinance 606, and I'd take any questions you might have.
All right, any questions for staff? Terry?
On the, and this is a question for, I think, the city attorney, the appeal/referral